Hi everyone. So we're going to proceed with our next chapter on manufacturing strategies. All right. So when you complete this chapter, you should be able to explain these two strategies, which is the first one, lean manufacturing strategies, and the last one, agile manufacturing strategies. Okay. So before I go further, let's have a look into this history of agile and lean strategies.
I'll start my timeline in 1913 because this was when Henry Ford developed his first assembly line in Highland Park, Michigan. It's a very well known story, and at the time the concept was revolutionary and reduced the time taken to build a car from over 10 hours to 1.5 hours. At the same time, the cost reduced by half to $350, and for the first time, that word flow production was introduced into the lexicon. Think of that image of a stream flowing steady and continuously to its mouth. It was this concept of flow that would play a major part in the lean and agile concepts of the future. The next date of note is 1948. This was when Toyota, again another car manufacturer, began its journey to improve their assembly line and introduced the Toyota Production System, or TPS. It was developed by two engineers, Teiichi Ono and Eiji Toyoda. It is regarded as a socio-technical system, recognizing the interaction and the interdependence between the technology and the people who work with it. It focused on three core objectives: the reduction of muri, or overburdening of both the system and the people, mura, or the smoothing out of unevenness, and muda, the elimination of waste. All three are important components, but within that, much focus is given to waste. A set of 7 types of waste were identified, including items like overproduction, defects, unnecessary movement, etc. An eighth item was introduced in the 90s around underutilization of people. Over the next 30 years, Toyota would go on to develop the Toyota Way. And as this gained traction around the world, and as it moved west, it would morph into what we now call lean manufacturing, or simply lean. This term lean was first mentioned in a paper in 1988, Triumph of the Lean Production System. It still focused on Muda, Muri, and Mura, and also focused on increasing value by removing anything that does not add value. So, all in all, the second half of the 20th century saw the origins and flourishing of lean in manufacturing. Over time, lean principles began to spread wider than manufacturing. Nowadays, we hear about lean product development, lean construction, lean government. This list goes on. In each case, the objectives can be very different, and hence the methodologies and the thinking have evolved to solve the problems for that specific area. So let's move on to Agile. Iterative and incremental development can be seen as far back as the 1950s. But I'll start this story in 1986 because this was when a Harvard Business Review article called The New Product Development Game used the concept of Scrum from a rugby scrum. And it denoted a shift from the idea of relay races, with team handing the baton to another team to finish the race, to the idea of a single unit of people working together from start to finish to complete an endeavor. It was in software development where these principles gained traction to become agile as we know it today. Through the 90s, a number of different methodologies and frameworks for software delivery were being conceived and growing. XP, RUP, RAD, to name a few. Scrum was also beginning. In the early 1990s, two groups were working with Scrum in their respective companies. And in 1995, Jeff Sutherland and Ken Schwaber jointly presented a paper describing the Scrum framework at the Business Objects Design and Implementation Workshop. And Scrum continued to evolve with the others. In 2001 came the now famous gathering of 17 individuals in Snowboard, Utah. This group, who represented many of the methodologies that were being practiced at that point, came together and agreed on an overarching manifesto with 4 values, could be called objectives or perhaps policies, and a set of 12 principles. It was the birth of Agile, and it was quickly followed in 2002 by the Agile Alliance and the book Agile Software Development with Scrum by Schwaber and Beadle. It was from 2001 that Agile began to take off and became the beast that it is today, recognized as a highly efficient way to develop products, but with the caveat that its simplicity to understand does not translate into ease of implementation. There are many hurdles to Agile rollout in an organization. To give one example, it doesn't fit well with the current business models that are in place in the world today. It is to address this disparity between the organization's management model and the emerging product development framework that I now turn. Within 3 or 4 years of the Agile Manifesto, we began to see the emergence of new frameworks to deal with the area of enterprise Agile. Frameworks like Scrum, at their core, focus on how to get a team to work in a highly efficient and sustainable way. But it doesn't really address the question of how multiple teams work together to deliver value. So from 2005, we start seeing new frameworks: LESS, SAFe, Nexus, DAD, and these aimed to address Agile at an enterprise level. The Liberating Agile framework, with its focus on team responsibility and just-in-time decision-making, it really butts heads with large enterprise and its hierarchical decision-making and risk-averse approach. It became apparent that they wouldn't be easy bedfellows. Organizations began to understand this and to see the need for an evolution in their business models to take advantage of this. And I note books like Frederic Laloux's Reinventing Organizations, which gives an in-depth view of the current evolution of large enterprise. More recently, in the same way that we have seen Lean branch out past manufacturing, we've begun to see the Agile spirit move beyond software development. From bank auditing to marketing, enterprises are beginning to use Agile methods to deliver. The term Agile software development is being replaced with the term Agile product development to denote its benefits are beyond its original remit and applicable to many groups who are delivering complex emergent change. And that brings us pretty much up to today. I hope this helps to give you a very quick whistle-stop tour of Agile and Lean. If you have any questions or comments, include them below or ping separately on LinkedIn.
Alright, so let's start with the lean manufacturing first. Okay, so basically lean manufacturing is a philosophy that considers the expenditure of resources other than the direct creation of the value for the end customer to be wasteful. Okay, we have learned about JIT. So as I mentioned previously, JIT, all the JIT element concept is the effort. Okay, the effort in order for some company to achieve lean manufacturing. Okay, thus it is targeted for the elimination. So the company will, the final aims is to eliminate all the waste stated under the production. Okay, and work from the perspective of the client who consume a product or service. So these are the principles of the lean. Okay, the first one, eliminate waste. There are 7 to 8 waste classified under production: build in quality, create knowledge, defer commitment, deliver fast, and optimize as whole. Okay. Alright, so let's see this lean manufacturing plant tour. One of the good example for further your understanding.
You may have noticed a breath of fresh air is blowing over the Atlas Copco factory floor. A breath of lean air.
Lean manufacturing is about the elimination of waste. We can really concentrate to the tasks which are giving added value to the product. We eliminate all other tasks which are not giving added value, like walking, waiting time, bad quality, and so on and so on.
The new assembly lines look very different compared to the old ones.
The previous assembly lines we designed in a totally different way. We looked to the compressor, we looked to all the material which was needed to assemble all types of compressors, and we put it into the assembly line.
In the old way of thinking, operators were literally surrounded by mountains of components.
They had all the components in the small blue boxes in front of them, and they had to choose the right component. And sometimes operators are mistaken and taking the wrong component, and it leads to waste.
Those days are coming to an end.
Now we look to the operator and we look to the tasks of the operator. And instead of having all material on the assembly line, we bring the material to the operator in direct access to the operator.
On a lean line, the operator is the center of things.
We bring all the material in sequence to the line, so the first component on the line is also the component he needs for the machine he is working on. Quality is of course always our first concern. It's therefore we introduced the tools like poka-yoke plates. The aim of the poka-yoke plate is that they start up at the beginning of the assembly with filling up this plate, and at the end of the assembly the plate must be empty.
The lean concept makes life and work easier for the operators. For instance, all carriers are on wheels. This also makes it easier to quickly adapt the line to changing production needs. Modern electrical tools are at hand. These ensure that the perfect amount of torque is applied and that all necessary screws are used. And a barcode-based traceability system guarantees that all the right components are installed in each unit.
We really focused on the design for assembly. We also looked to the way of working for the operator, so that the operator has an easy access to all the components, that he can easily assemble the components into the unit.
Another aspect of lean manufacturing is to strive for less components.
Try to standardize as much as possible. We try to have the same components as much as possible for the different types of compressors. By focusing on standardization, we're also able to reduce the total assembly time.
As a result of the shorter assembly time, the throughput time is shortened as well. Lean manufacturing is essential in ensuring accurate delivery times for high-volume production. Not only the assembly time was shortened, so was the assembly line.
This assembly line is much shorter than the classical assembly line. For example, when we first designed this assembly line, not according to the lean principles, we had an assembly line of 17 meters. Today, this production line is only 14 meters. And this is only by implementing lean principles like sequencing, bringing material to the operator, and designing the workstation according to the needs of the operators and not according to the needs of the compressor anymore.
A lean environment and product design both tailored to the needs of the operator. Less components, meaning less room for error. Lean manufacturing is the way forward. In fact, the first results of lean manufacturing in the portable energy division have proven this point. On-time delivery increased by 15% and quality improved by 11%, a resounding success.
By implementing the principles of lean manufacturing, we reduced the total amount of components, we reduced the working time, and by doing so we were able to reduce the amount of workstations. And we were even able to improve the quality, so it's a win-win situation.
Right. So this is the Agile definition. Okay. So for the Agile manufacturing concept or strategies, it is defined as a term applied to an organization that has created the process, tools and training to enable it to respond quickly to customer needs and market changes while still controlling cost and quality. Okay, Agile manufacturing is seen as the next step after lean manufacturing in the evolution of production methodology. So in order for some company to achieve or to implement, okay, recognized as agile strategies or concept in their manufacturing, in their production, they need to strengthen first their lean principle, okay, as been mentioned just now, have been shown by the example of the Atlas company. So once the company have strengthened all the lean principle, then only they can strive to achieve or to implement the agile manufacturing, right? So these are the principles of the agile. The first one, highest priority is customer satisfaction, welcome changing requirement, frequent delivery of software, business people and developers cooperating daily, build project around motivated people, face-to-face conversation is best, progress measured by working software, sustainable development pace, continuous attention to technical excellence, simplicity, self-organizing team, regular reflection and adaptation. Okay, so basically Agile is one of the structured, one of the model or framework that created, okay, by using software, by using supporting application, okay, technology advancement like IoT, Internet of Things, the database system, and then we have the software, okay, that integrate all the lean principle in order to achieve a more, what we call it, efficient, okay, a more efficient production for the business purposes. Okay, so these are the things that need to consider in order for some business to achieve agile strategies. All right, so let's have a look into this video. So these are the difference between lean and agile strategies. For the lean, no customization. All the products produced usually standardized. Okay, it's a normal production. Okay, but for the agile, you can customize. All right, and then only one or two version of the product. But for the agile, you can have numerous options are available. You can have the flexibility of the function of the product that demanded by the customer. Alright, so this is the metric, okay, 4-quadrant metric that define the agility and leans. Okay, so the agility is needed in less predictable environments when volume is low and the need for variability is high. Okay, continue. This is the difference in terms of the inventory. The lean strategy have minimum inventory, but for agile, you need to have inventory buffer, meaning to say you need to be ready with your inventory stock in order to cope with the agile. Okay, but for the lean, you need to have just in time inventory. Whereas for the quality, for lean, just enough for a perfect quality, but for agile, you need to have acceptable quality. Okay, and this is another illustration to define between agile and lean. So this is the lean, the factory floor level, and agile as an enterprise level as a whole, right? Okay, continue for the lean. In terms of the production, we have mass production, and for the agile, we have mass production and customization. All right, and then in terms of the emphasis on the efficient use of resources, but for the agile, you need to emphasize on the continuous changes. Alright, and the last one, smooth production schedule, but for the agile, production schedule is responsive to order. Alright, so this is another illustration between lean and agile. So the agile method has been primarily thought of for software development, and other businesses disciplines have also adopted it. Lean thinking is a process improvement technique where teams prioritize the value stream to improve it continuously. Both methodologies look at the customer as the key driver to improvement and waste reduction. Okay, both methodology also look at improvement as something continuous. So both strategies are valuable and beneficial. Okay, but only the strategies. Okay, looking back into the strategy, what are the company trying to achieve? And these are the similarities between both strategies. The first one, both ultimately focus on the increasing business sustainability in the high-cost manufacturing sectors. The second one, both are answer to challenges faced by historical manufacturer. The third one, both provides opportunity for smaller players to compete with larger entrance competitors. Okay, and the last one, both concepts rely heavily on the statistical analysis, computerized information system, and open communication between internal and external stakeholders. All right, okay, I think that's all. Thank you.